What if I told you that sugar is not the real reason Americans are tired, overweight and sick, that something far more hidden, something you eat almost every single day, is silently dismantling your metabolism? For years, patients have walked into my office convinced that sugar is the villain. They've cut carbs, skipped desserts, blamed genetics, even punished themselves with starvation diets, yet nothing changes. Their energy crashes by noon, their belly grows tighter each month, and their lab results look worse every year. They whisper the same question, "Doctor, what's wrong with me?" And I tell them this: it's not their fault. The real enemy isn't sweet, it's slick. It hides in the oil sizzling in your kitchen, in restaurant fryers, and in the healthy snacks lining every supermarket shelf. These industrial seed oils have invaded the American diet, inflaming our cells, blocking hormones, and slowly switching off the body's natural ability to burn fat. But the good news is, the body can heal. Once you understand how inflammation truly begins, you can reverse it and reclaim the energy, clarity, and confidence you thought were gone for good. Every day I meet patients who believe they're doing everything right. They buy low-fat snacks, cook with vegetable oil, count calories, and walk 30 minutes after dinner. Yet their blood sugar climbs, their joints ache, and they wake up exhausted. They look at me and ask, "Doctor, why do I still feel this way?" Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Our healthcare system doesn't reward prevention, it rewards prescriptions. The average American spends over $12,000 a year on healthcare and still ranks below 35th in global health outcomes. We take more pills than any generation in history, but somehow we're sicker than ever. I used to believe sugar was the biggest culprit behind this epidemic, until I saw patients who completely cut sugar, yet kept gaining fat, losing focus, and feeling inflamed. That's when I started tracing the problem back to something far deeper, something that hides behind the glossy word, heart healthy. If sugar isn't the villain, then what's silently killing our metabolism every single day? When I finally discovered the truth, it felt like pulling back a curtain on a nationwide illusion. The real danger wasn't sugar, it was something far more deceptive: industrial seed oils. They're in nearly 80% of packaged foods in America: corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. They sound innocent, even healthy. But what they do inside the human body is closer to slow biochemical sabotage. I explain it to my patients this way. Imagine every cell in your body is wrapped in a soft, flexible bubble. That's your cell membrane. It's made mostly of fat. When you eat good fats like olive oil or avocado oil, those healthy molecules build strong, responsive membranes that allow hormones and nutrients to pass through easily. But when you consume processed seed oils, those fragile, unstable fats replace the healthy ones in your cell walls. They turn flexible membranes into brittle plastic. Once that happens, communication breaks down. Hormones like insulin, leptin, and thyroid signals can't enter the cell properly. Your body screams for more energy, even though there's plenty of stored fat. You feel hungry, tired, and foggy, the exact symptoms millions of Americans mistake for aging or laziness. And here's what's most alarming: studies show these oils don't just vanish after digestion. The half-life of these toxic fats in the body is around 680 days. That means if you stop eating them today, half of them will still be circulating in your tissues almost 2 years from now. They linger, oxidize, and inflame your cells day after day, like rust, slowly eating through metal. But how did these toxic oils become the foundation of the American diet, and why were we told they're healthy in the first place? To understand how we got here, we have to rewind nearly a century. In the early 1900s, Americans cooked with butter, lard, beef, tallow, real fats. Heart disease was rare. But as the food industry grew, manufacturers needed cheap oils that could sit on shelves for months. They took crops meant for machines, cottonseed, corn, soy, and chemically extracted their oils using high heat pressure and petroleum solvents. These oils were then bleached, deodorized, and rebranded as vegetable oils. That single marketing decision reshaped the American plate. After World War II, the government's food pyramid pushed these seed oils as heart-healthy, demonizing saturated fats. We were told butter kills, but margarine saves. Olive oil was too foreign, while corn oil was patriotic, and we believed it. But decades later, the truth is clear: as seed oil consumption skyrocketed, so did obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, and heart disease. Harvard researchers estimate that by 2030, half of the US population will be clinically obese, not because of sugar alone, but because our cells are literally suffocating in inflammation. The irony: these same oils are used in industrial paint, soap, and biodiesel. The human body was never designed to metabolize them daily. Yet they're in everything from French fries to protein bars labelled as refined, expeller, pressed, or cholesterol-free. When patients finally see this, I often see a mix of anger and relief in their eyes. Anger for being misled their whole lives. Relief because for the first time they realise the problem isn't their willpower, it's the misinformation they were fed. But if these oils are poisoning our cells, how exactly does that lead to fatigue, weight gain, and disease? And more importantly, how can we reverse the damage? Every health condition you can name, from weight gain to diabetes, brain fog to heart disease, begins with one common root cellular inflammation, not the kind that makes a sprained ankle swell. I'm talking about silent microscopic inflammation that starts inside your cells and spreads like smoke through your body. Here's how it works. Picture your cells as millions of little engines, each powered by mitochondria, the batteries that turn food into energy. Those engines depend on clean fuel, clear communication, and strong membranes. But when seed oils build up in the cell wall, they create traffic jams. Hormones can't deliver their messages. Nutrients can't get in. Waste can't get out. Your metabolism grinds to a crawl. This is when the fatigue begins. You wake up groggy even after 8 hours of sleep. You crave caffeine and sugar, not because you're weak, but because your cells are literally starving for usable energy. I've had patients who exercise daily, eat clean, and still gain weight until we fix the inflammation clogging their metabolism. The scary part: this inflammation doesn't just slow you down, it alters your genes. Epigenetic research now shows that your lifestyle can switch genes on or off, influencing everything from weight to cancer risk. As I tell my patients, genes load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Once inflammation takes over, your body starts signaling distress, joint pain, bloating, headaches, brain fog. But instead of fixing the root cause, our system hands out pills, blood pressure meds, antidepressants, painkillers to silence the symptoms. It's like turning off the smoke alarm while your house is still on fire. That's why I tell my patients symptoms are not punishments, they're messages. Every ache, every wave of fatigue, every stubborn pound, it's your body whispering something's wrong, and if you listen closely, that whisper can save your life. So how do we cool the fire? How do we switch off this invisible inflammation and bring the body back to balance? The first step to healing is not a supplement, not a pill, not another trendy diet, it's awareness. You can't fix what you can't see. Once you recognize inflammation as the real problem, you stop fighting your body and start working with it. I often tell my patients, you don't have a weight problem, you have an inflammation problem that's showing up as weight. When you heal the cell, the fat melts off naturally, your brain clears and your energy returns. The body knows exactly what to do. It just needs you to stop interrupting it. So where do we start with food, but not the kind you've been told to eat? Cut out industrial seed oils completely. Canola, corn, soybean, safflower, sunflower, cottonseed, grapeseed, rice, bran, all of them. Replace them with real fats your grandmother would recognize: butter, ghee, tallow, avocado, oil, and extra virgin olive oil. These fats rebuild the flexible cell membranes your body depends on. Within weeks, energy rises, cravings fade, and digestion improves. Next, balance your metabolism with oxygen movement and nutrient density. Walk daily, hydrate with minerals, focus on clean protein, colourful vegetables, and natural light. These small actions activate your mitochondria, your body's electrical grid, helping you burn fat efficiently even while you sleep. Then comes the hardest part for many people: mindset. Your thoughts are chemical. Every time you think a stressful or resentful thought, your brain releases inflammatory molecules like cytokines and cortisol. Over time, those thoughts become physical damage. But gratitude, calm, breathing, and positive focus release healing molecules like dopamine, oxytocin, and GABA, the body's natural anti-inflammatories. That's why I call gratitude vitamin G. In studies from Harvard and UC Davis, people who practiced genuine gratitude daily lowered their stress hormones, strengthened immunity, and even lived longer. When I say gratitude heals, it's not poetry, it's physiology. One of my favourite habits is the 60-second gratitude text. Every morning, I send a message to someone who's made a difference in my life. Sometimes it's a friend, sometimes a patient, sometimes my son. Just 1 minute a day, and the ripple effect is incredible. Less stress, deeper connection, stronger purpose. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, the invisible force that shapes every health outcome, success and failure in your life: your self-image. No diet, no supplement, no exercise plan can outwork a broken self-image. I've seen it countless times. A patient loses 30 pounds, glows with confidence for a few months, and then gains it all back. Why? Because deep inside their subconscious still sees them as the overweight person, the sick one, or the failure. Your body will always return to the picture you hold in your mind. That picture acts like an autopilot, constantly steering you back to what feels familiar, even if it's painful. I learned this lesson from years of watching people succeed and relapse. They didn't need more willpower, they needed a new identity. Changing that identity isn't magic, it's repetition. Just as years of negative self-talk programmed you to believe you were broken, consistent positive thought can rewire the pattern. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself based on what you focus on. I teach my patients a simple daily affirmation: I'm so grateful that my body is strong, intelligent, and healing every day. Say it every morning for 30 days. Not as wishful thinking, but but as a daily rehearsal for the person you're becoming. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It responds to repetition and emotion. There's a famous Harvard study where elderly men lived for a week in an environment designed to mimic their younger years, the music magazines, even the furniture. After 5 days, their posture straightened, eyesight sharpened, and joint flexibility returned. Their biology followed their beliefs. So if belief can turn back the clock on aging, imagine what it can do for your metabolism, your heart, your mood. Repetition rewires reality. Each time you think or speak in alignment with health, you're installing a new operating system for your life. Still, there's one more layer most people overlook: the environment that shapes every thought, habit, and gene in your body. You can't outgrow a toxic environment. Just like a plant can't thrive in poisoned soil, your health can't flourish in an atmosphere that feeds stress, distraction, and hopelessness. That's why most transformations fail, not because people lack knowledge, but because their surroundings keep pulling them back to their old identity. Every sound, every smell, every person you spend time with influences your biology. Neuroscientists call it entrainment. Your brain waves literally sync to the environment around you. Spend enough time with negative people, and your nervous system begins to copy their stress response. But surround yourself with energy, laughter, and purpose, and your biology responds with vitality. I once watched a short experiment that still gives me chills. Fleas were placed in a glass jar with a lid. For 3 days they jumped and hit the lid over and over. When the lid was finally removed, they never jumped higher than before, even though freedom was right there. Worse, their offspring did the same. That's how powerful environment is. Many of us are living like those fleas, trapped under invisible limits we didn't choose. Limits taught by culture, family, media, or fear. But here's the good news: those walls aren't real. The moment you see them, you can rise above them. Your purpose acts as the gravity that lifts you out. Research from the Harvard School of Public Health found that people who live with a clear sense of purpose reduce their risk of heart disease and early death by more than 20%. Purpose is not luxury, it's biology. When you have a why, your immune system, hormones, and brain chemistry align to keep you alive for it. I tell every patient this: your purpose is medicine. It's the unseen nutrient that keeps the heart beating through challenges, the body healing through setbacks, and the mind hopeful through chaos. But purpose alone isn't enough. You need to set goals that wake your spirit, stretch your limits, and make you feel alive every single day. I've learned that goals are not just motivational tools, they're physiological medicine. When you have something meaningful to work toward, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that not only drives focus, but strengthens the immune system and reduces inflammation. Purpose without goals is like a heartbeat without rhythm. It exists, but it doesn't move you forward. In one remarkable study from Harvard psychologist Dr. Ellen Langer, elderly patients living in nursing homes were split into 2 groups. One group was given a houseplant to care for and control over their daily schedule. The other group had the same plant, but staff took care of it for them. After 18 months, twice as many people in the first group were still alive. Why? Because they had something, even something small to nurture and look forward to. Goals keep your biology awake, but not all goals are created equal. I divide them into 3 categories: A goals, things you already know how to do, safe but uninspiring. B goals, slightly challenging but predictable. And C goals, the kind that make your heart race because you have no idea how to reach them. The C goal is where transformation lives. It's the audacious dream that rewires your brain and reshapes your chemistry. One of my patients once told me her C goal was to hike with her grandchildren again after being confined by arthritis for years. She started small, one step, one stretch, one day at a time, and a year later she sent me a photo from the top of Yosemite Falls. That's not luck. That's biology responding to belief. When I wrote my latest book, I didn't just hope it would reach people, I acted as if it already had. I spoke its success before it existed, not out of arrogance, but conviction, and science backs this up. Studies from the National Institutes of Health show that visualization activates the same neural pathways as real experience. When you act as if your brain and body begin building the reality you believe in. So I give every patient a small card and a simple instruction: write one goal that makes you both excited and afraid. Something so powerful it wakes you up in the morning. Keep it in your wallet, read it every day, and speak it in the present tense. I'm so grateful now because each repetition programs your subconscious mind and your biology will follow. But even with goals, habits, and purpose, there's one last ingredient that ties it all together: the single most powerful anti-inflammatory molecule your body can produce: gratitude. I've prescribed thousands of things over the years: supplements, exercise routines, nutrition plans, but nothing transforms the body faster than what I call vitamin G gratitude. Not the polite kind you post online, but the real cellular kind you feel. When you experience true gratitude, your brain lights up in the same regions, activated by love and reward. Dr. Joe Dispenza's workshops show measurable drops in cortisol, the stress hormone, after only a few days of gratitude practice. Levels of immunoglobulin A, your body's first line of immune defense, shoot up. It's as if every thankful thought flips the body's healing switch back on. Harvard researchers found that adults who practiced gratitude regularly had a 9% lower risk of death from all causes and a 15% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Another study at UC Davis showed that nightly gratitude journaling improved sleep blood pressure and even mitochondrial energy the next morning. Gratitude literally rewires your metabolism toward healing. So how do you take vitamin G? Start small. Each morning, I think of 3 things or people that I'm deeply thankful for and sit in that feeling for 60 seconds, not listing feeling. Then I text one person a quick message of thanks. It takes a minute, yet it changes the chemistry of my entire day. I once watched a young man in a psychology experiment write a heartfelt letter to someone who had shaped his life, then call and read it out loud. When he hung up, he was in tears, but his heart rate and blood pressure had dropped dramatically. Science later confirmed it. The happiest person in that entire study was the one who'd started out the least happy. Gratitude didn't just lift his mood, it recalibrated his biology. And here's the beautiful irony: the more gratitude you give, the more your body receives. The phrase, "what you appreciate appreciates," isn't just philosophy, it's chemistry. But gratitude isn't only about living longer, it's about living better. And that brings us to the final truth I share with every patient before they leave my office. After decades of research, hundreds of patients, and more lab reports than I can count, I've learned one unshakable truth: the human body is not broken, it's brilliant. Every cell is designed to heal, repair, and regenerate when given the chance. The tragedy is that most people never give it that chance. Your body is not a machine that wears out, it's a living ecosystem that rebuilds itself every single day. Every 3 months you grow a new liver. Every year most of your skeleton renews. Even your skin, the barrier between you and the world, replaces itself every 30 days. You are literally not the same person you were a month ago. So if your body can remake itself, why not remake your health story too? When I speak to patients, I often end with this reminder: your cells are listening. They listen to your food, your movement, your sleep, but most importantly, they listen to your thoughts. Fear tells them to shrink. Stress tells them to hide. Gratitude tells them to grow. You don't have to beg your body to heal, you just have to stop interrupting the process. Once you remove the toxins, feed your cells real nutrients, think thoughts that build instead of break, and move in ways that generate energy instead of drain, it's something extraordinary happens. The fog lifts, the cravings fade, the weight releases, the spirit returns. You don't become someone new, you return to who you were designed to be. And that to me is the real definition of health, not the absence of disease, but the full presence of life. Because when you finally realize your body was built to heal, you stop surviving and start living. So here's the truth I want you to take with you. Your body was never the enemy. It's been fighting for you every single day, even when you were tired, even when you were scared, even when you thought it was too late. Every symptom, every ache, every extra pound was never punishment. It was a message asking for your attention, not your shame. Start small. Replace one oil in your kitchen. Take 1 quiet minute of gratitude each morning. Speak to yourself like someone you're learning to love again. Healing doesn't begin in the doctor's office. It begins in the choices you make before breakfast. If today's message helped you see health in a new light, don't let it fade. Save this video as a reminder that your body is still listening, still rebuilding, still capable of miracles when you treat it right. And if you want more science-based tools, motivation, and simple daily steps to protect your energy and longevity, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Because every week I'll be here sharing the latest medical insights to help you live stronger, longer, and fully alive. Now tell me in the comments, what will you change first?